in Singapore. That's about all for my role. And kind of quickly introduce the man who will chair and moderate this session and make sure everyone keeps to 15 minutes each. Professor Kwok Kian Woon from Sociology Department, NUS. NTU, sorry.
You're not forgiven. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. It's really nice to have this room so full of people from all kinds of backgrounds, as also is reflected in the book that we have here today. It's my pleasant duty, first of all, to say something very concrete, which is that for the writers, you have 30% discount of a $30 book. And the publisher has been very, very generous today. There is a discount for today. The book is $30. The GST is $2.10. Especially for today, they will waive the GST. Right? So, I think the best way to honor a book is, of course, to read it, but first buy it. That is the best way to honor the book. Now, we are trying to leave lots of time for open discussion, so we are asking our speakers to try and keep to 15 minutes. Let me just introduce each of them in turn, and then we'll plunge in right away. We'll begin with Lisa Lee, who is a writer and formerly a teacher for 11 years. And she has been a freelance writer, especially working on themes related to healthcare institutions. I think she just wants me to say that she has a special love for history, curriculum development, citizenship education, and cats. Okay. And our second speaker will be Stephanie Chok. Dr. Chok is an independent researcher. I think those of us who are not so independent, we are very envious of people who are independent. Yeah? And she is, of course, a very critically engaged activist and approaches research in a very grounded way, working especially on labor migration, especially low-wage labor migration and inequality. And I think she has a number of other concerns, but more specifically, wage theft and workplace safety or workplace unsafety among migrant workers. And currently, she's doing research on construction workers, conservancy workers, and domestic workers. And last but not least, we have Professor Michael Fisher, Mike, who has spent a lot of time in Singapore, but he is the Andrew W. Mellon Professor in the Humanities and the Professor of Anthropology and Science, Technology and Technology Studies. We try to call it STS, and he has become a very, very big and important field in human studies. And he is based at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, but in Singapore, he's based at the Singapore University of Technology and Design. And I think he has many interests in many parts of the world, including the Middle East, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. And I'd just like to point out that he has, in the anthropology of religion, his PhD thesis many years ago was on the Zoroastrians, Jews, Shiite Muslims, and Baha'is in Iran. So, and he has actually done field work with Jains and Parsis in India, and earlier with Protestant churches and barnyards in Jamaica. Yeah. So, let's give a round of applause to our speakers today. Thank you.